do the Shamrock Shuffle Fund. Anybody don't know what that is? Well, who are my Chicagoans? What area? Who else? Where you from? Spartan. Near like Tule area, right? Yeah, Shamrock Shuffle is a big run here in Chicago, kind of like, marathon-ish. It usually happens right after St. Patrick's Day, Grant Park downtown, tens of thousands of people. So if you never participated, maybe try to participate next year. Real good social event too, to get up at Buckingham Fountain, tents, with beer, everybody hang out, really cool experience. So. Okay, moving along. Hey, first things first, let's try to visit this 3D printing project for your groups. Is this information up on Blackboard? Is anyone seeing the 3D printing information on Blackboard? Yes? Under, what do you see? Is it group 11 or something? Who can let me know if they see it? Under assignments. Does it give the instructions?
Yep.
Okay. All right, so if it's on there, with the instructions, you're going to use one of these websites of your choosing. On these websites, you will find kind of prototypes, concept for a 3D object. You are to choose one of the objects that most represents your company, your brand, the image, the concept, or whatever the case may be, is for your project. You will submit that information in the form. You can also, if you want to kind of expedite, I'm not sure if it's on there or not, submit it right to the 3D printing office at the library, here in the Pink Library, directly to them. I said maybe your best bet is just kind of selecting the object, putting the link of the object, shooting it over to the 3D printing services here at the Clinton Library. You can make a CC me on the email. They'll respond back. They'll let you know, like, hey, maybe in a week we'll reach back out. One individual has to come actually physically pick up the object from the library, and then there you go. The group has a 3D printed object, right? That will be part of your next presentation, where you kind of show what that object represents as a brand, a concept with your organization. So yeah, put some thought into which object kind of makes the most sense as part of your presentation. Does that make sense? Any confusion about that? Okay. So try to get that in as soon as possible. I think it takes about a week sometime to get backlog. So the quicker you do it, you can do it today. I know popped up on the website, send it in, and if you wait about a week, next Tuesday or so, you probably have it ready. All right? So make sure you communicate also to your groups with those individuals who are not here, so they're not confused when they show that up twice. All right, moving along. What week are we in right now? 11. Wow, it's moving fast, right? I think we really only got 5 more weeks after this and we're done. Who's graduating? Anyone? We got 1 more year. We got 2 more years left. Exciting. Who's going to grad school? Who's going to get that master's degree? Who's going to go get that doctorate? Who's just want to get a job and make good money? Travel the world, find a good Thank you. Who's going to start their own business? I know I got my photographer. Who else is starting a business? What are you starting?
I just want maybe like a program like retail stuff.
Like reset. Right? Think about that. Hey, you're looking for a job, but have a plan B. Maybe start a little business, test the things that you are knowing, right? Which we kind of call praxis. It's like, hey, okay, you learn the concepts and you apply them. Experiment upon it, right? Go up the website, offer some products, do Amazon stuff. Tea, shoe, whatever you can do. Put it into practice. All right, move on. So we're into one of the 4 P's, which is pricing, right? What exactly is pricing? How is it related to other factors about marketing? How does it influence buyers? One way or the other, to buy or not to buy. It's the only one of the 4 P's that actually translate directly into revenue. Okay, so pricing is directly translated how much money we will receive. Right? Think about it. We got promotions and all this other stuff, but if we don't set the price, we have no clue how much money we will receive from customers, clients, how we want to start. So we need a strategy. Price is an indicator of something. Right? Pricing is creates a medium of exchange. How would you describe price? What does price mean to you? Go to the store, just get numbers, cash or whatever you do, Apple Cash, or, what is this number, this magical number? Okay.
Maybe the value of the product.
According to whom?
I don't know, the buyer is.
Okay. According to who, yes.
Maybe how much they want for it in order to make a profit for them.
Okay, like, well, you know what? Corporation set a price, and that's the price we want in order to maintain a certain profit margin or something. What is, anyone else can think of what price is? Right, price is just a signal. You don't have to buy it, right? But you see many of the prices around, it's just a symbol. It's an indicator of something. Like, it indicates something. It's very subjective. Okay. You can indicate whatever you want to indicate. Don't mean that I'll buy it at that price if I'm at the price. Maybe I'll like the product, but I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna try it somewhere else. I don't have to buy it here. I can go on Amazon and see it's cheaper, go on eBay and see it's cheaper. I can go directly to the website and something, right? So like, hey, price indicates many things. It maybe indicates what's wanted here at this particular location with these economics. Each neighborhood has its own economics, each city has its own economics, each state, each country, you know. So the prices are different, depending on location. Price may indicate quality, potentially, right? We see MSRP all the time. Manufacturers suggest the retail price. They just suggest the price. So if it's an MSRP on the sticker of a car, you want to look at a CarMax or some dealership, you're like, oh, interesting, they want $33,500. MSRP. The manufacturer who made the car suggested you sell it. For what reason? It's up for me to decide. Just because you suggested it, I mean, I like it. I don't have to like the price. Right, so price is just a signal, an indicator of something, the quality of the product, the image, the brand, the concepts, etc. So what we'll learn in this chapter, the role in the marketing mix, dealing with the P of pricing. 5 critical C's of pricing. 5-step procedure for establishing pricing policy, right? Actually having a protocol of what we will price our product. Because it impacts everything. If we're too cheap, we're cheap image, we're cheap brand. If we're too expensive, people won't buy it. Won't make sense. Right? So we customers, about who we are. Pricing strategies for new products, right? If it's new, it's a blank canvas. You're gonna set the price based on some factors. Maybe we look at competitors and see what they charge. We go according to that, or maybe we set this up. Strategies and tactics for existing products. And then once again, ethics, we need to consider the pricing. All right, so pricing is defined as something of value for something of value, right? An exchange. I give you $1, you give me a product or a service. You gave me some advice, I give you $100 for your advice or service, right? You did something, you gave me something, I gave you something about it. It could even mean trade. It doesn't have to mean a currency for that matter. It could mean credit. It could be an exchange of credit. I'll pay you later, I'll give you this and that. Right? So this for that. Quid pro quo. Elements of pricing must be that such parties, the buyer and seller, benefit from the exchange. Hey, I really need something to eat right now. This is the most convenient thing. So my benefit is to get something to eat. Your benefit is to get some money from it. Okay? So we say price is just an indicator about it. Subjective assessment of perceived benefits. Once again, eating food. Like, hey, your perception is that it'll taste good. You eat it, it don't taste good. Too late, you already paid your money. Right? So then for you, like, well, the value wasn't equal, I'm not coming back to this place. Right? I don't want to pay for that much anyway for it in the first place. Value is related to the quality and price of the product, and the formula is as such. Value equals quality divided by price. I would say quality is a kind of a big word because qualities are features, characteristics, feelings, sentiments, perceptions. Right? It's just your own personal take on something. You like it, others don't. Right? Others may not like it. But it's what you perceive as quality. Quality could mean convenience to you, that could be quality. Quality could mean the feel of quality, actual physical things. Quality could mean the type of information, good information versus bad information, good consultation versus bad consultation. Right? Lawyers charge a fee, price, on how good the representation is. You'll pay for it, right? Some big cartel leader, a mafia leader, or something, you might have to pay a ridiculous price for the greatest lawyer out there with those kind of racketeering cases. Price system in a market mix. We say it's the only element that directly produces revenue. Right? All right, profit. Profit is the difference between the amount earned, which is revenue, and the cost of goods sold. We say, hey, revenue is what we earn, right? What we earn, including all the different things that happen in that process. That's what we actually do. Now, profit is different. You're like, well, there's a lot of things that happen before we receive this money from you, customer, client. Now we have to subtract everything else. Right? All the sort of processes, the people involved, salaries, et cetera, third parties, right? Rent, utilities, insurance, right? Buying what we bought the product for so we could resell it. Right? That will mean profit. Right? The profit is the cost of goods sold, taken away from revenue. Total revenue is the money generated from normal business operations. Total cost of sales and operating expenses, the cost to operate. Right? And so therefore you have to really pay attention to the processes, the operations, especially like, hey, I'm only gonna make profit if I become more efficient in my operations. But yeah, I make revenues. Think of the concept. You go in Oak Park, go in Forest Park, River Forest, Elmwood Park, Chicago. You see all these businesses. You see the restaurants, the the corner stores, convenience stores, it don't mean that any of them make a profit. They may not have ever made a profit, ever. And then you come back 2 years later and the business is closed, you're like, what happened? They were making money. Well, money doesn't equate profit. Money equates revenue. Right? They made money, but they never figured it out on how to price accordingly or how to make more efficient processes so that they could lower the cost of goods sold and make a profit. It never made sense to that end. And it didn't make sense, how do you know? They never expanded. They got the same old store forever and ever and ever and ever goes in business. And then have multiple locations, which will indicate to banks that, like, hey, you got really good people. Here's a big check to expand the operation. Right? So profit is rare. Revenue is not rare. Every business makes revenue. Not every business makes profit. So we say profit equation is profit is equal to total revenue minus total costs. Fixed costs, costs that don't change based on the number of units sold, such as what? What could be fixed costs? An example. What could be some examples of fixed costs? Did you think of any fixed costs of businesses? Yes?
Wages.
Okay, wages could be fixed, right? You could say, hey, we pay you $75,000 a year in salary. You already signed the agreement, the contract, boom, done. Not gonna change. Yes?
Maybe like rent.
Yeah, like, hey, you sign a 1-year lease, 2-year lease, 5-year lease, you sign the agreement, this is what you pay. You already factored that into everything else. Boom, done. What else? Right? Anything else, like think if you bought equipment, you bought technology, right? You've already paid something in order to help the business be more efficient or work, make the business operate. Right? Whether it's the coffee machines, the grilling machines, some big manufacturing machine to produce the units, like that won't change. We already paid that money, right? Things are fixed. Variable costs. What could be some example of variable costs? Costs that change based on the number of units sold. Yeah, you like materials to make the product, right? That could change. Prices might go up in the materials that you use from 1 month to the next, right? Economics change all the time, yes.
Like direct labor and like maybe commission.
Direct labor?
Yeah, maybe commission.
Yeah. You're like, hey, you direct labor, hey, you get bonuses, you get commissions, you get all sorts of things, right? If you sell X amount of units, things may change to some degree. Psychology of pricing. We say we can anchor the price so that it becomes the point of reference for the consumer. Goods are then offered at a lower price to create value in the consumer's mind. So we say, hey, it is very much psychology, because what we can do is we can say, here's the normal price. We can make a fictitious normal price out of thin air. And then we say, this is what we'll offer you. We'll give it to you 20% less of this. In your mind, you're thinking, wow, what a deal. Like, what a deal. Like, but they just made up the first price, the reference. They made that up. You're like, yeah, but it's a deal. You're like, well, is it really? We don't put that much thought into it, we just pay. Right? We like the feeling of a deal. It's kind of like if you're selling something, let's say Facebook Marketplace, or whatever, right? You could put some ridiculous amount for something that's obviously not worth it. Let's say it's a used car, right? crappy car, you offer for $10,000, it's probably worth about $4,000, right? Someone really interested in that make, model, year of a car reaches out to you, hey, I'm interested. Wow, yeah, no, that's crazy what you're offering for. And then, you know, you kind of hassle a little bit, you're like, oh, you know what, I think it's you for $8,000. Immediately you feel like there's a benefit. It's like it's not, it's only worth $4,000. But thanks for cutting the $2,000 off the original ridiculous price. I kind of feel like it's still a benefit. And then you come down, and then finally you sell it for $6,000. You're like, it's only worth $4,000. And wow, I got it for a deal. The guy originally offered it for $10,000. I bought it for $6,000. That's almost 50% off, right? So it's his psychology, right? You offer a base reference price so that when you do your promotions, everybody feels like they won. Everybody loves a deal, right? Everybody likes to feel like they commit some highway robberies. Hey, you can create artificial time constraints. Buy now, limited time only. 2 weeks left, 1 week left before the sale is over. You're in the grocery store walking down the aisle and you say, boom, wow, look at this deal, I gotta get this. There's only 1 week left, right? You gotta get it now, limited time only. And you're like, well, who made up the limited time only? The company selling it, right? Or the retailer itself, you know. So it could be the grocery store did it, or the manufacturer, or producer of the product. So creating a sense of urgency in the minds of consumers. Where do you see this happen? Where do you see the buy now urgency happen? What kind of venues or mediums that you see out there, websites, where they do it quite frequently? Or what kind of products? Can you think of anything when they create a sense of urgency to buy right now? Yes.
One that comes to mind is like plans that they have for like internet or something.
Yeah, you're like, hey, plans for a bundle on the internet, cable, or something of the sort. It could be like even fitness centers and stuff like that. Yes.
I was gonna say like sneaker drops, you know, like Jordans that are limited, shoes are limited.
You're like, yo, we only came out with 250 of them. That could be a lie. It could be actually 1,500 of them. But if you promoted it, it's like, oh, we only came out 250. You can charge a ridiculous price, right? Think about that. Limited edition, 3 of them made. You buy it, you wear it, and then you're like, wait, I went on Instagram, I saw like 50 people with these. I thought they made 3 of them. Right? But guess what? You made the money. Probably made a ridiculous amount of profit on the sneaker drop, right? Limited edition, those were fake. Right? Those were real. But if you're saying like, hey, everybody's being ethical and being, you know, good about it, then maybe they wouldn't do that, right? But maybe they'll use a sense of urgency. Hey, price appearance. $3.99 versus $4. Will that entice you to buy it at $3.99 versus $4? Why the 99? Why we use the 99? Why not just say $4? Why you say Right? Right, we like, you know, mentally we like to see numbers represent mental concepts. And the fact that it is below the number 4 makes all the world difference. Right? it's just kind of unconscious behavior. 3 is less than 4. So if you put 399, we feel like it's a huge deal to us. Also, too, here for example, like, hey, this refers to the appearance of the price in terms of how complicated it is to understand. $25, $26, $25, $20. Which one, which you think a consumer will be more inclined to purchase? Which one would kind of persuade or influence the purchase? The one with the .00 or the one without? What do you think? What do you think? Say this for yourself. Which one would influence you? Or persuade you by? Yes.
I think just the 2.5 make it a lot cheaper.
So the 2.5 is more simple, so it comes out cheaper. Anyone else on the opposite? The .00? You say why?
It makes it look like that's like $25, even though it's gonna be taxed, like, you're only paying $25.
Oh, so you're saying you go with the 2.5 or the .00? Yeah. Well, like, hey, a .00 might indicate like, hey, we could have charged more. There's these 2 extra spaces of numbers. We could have added, but we gave you 0 for each individual digit. Are we doing you a favor? Isn't this wonderful? You're like, well, that's, you're really saying all that? Yeah, they are, right? But it's unconscious behavior, right? Or it could be simple. You're like, hey, keep it simple, right? It influences different types of customers. Customers who are more, you know, so like they keep it simple, or others who be like, yeah, I know that you could charge me some cents, you know, added cents to it. Thank you for that added for the cents. What are some other ways that you've observed out there in the world that places price things differently than the .99 or just the $1 aspect? Have you seen like anywhere else where they do it differently? Any stores you go into, like they don't do $1.99 often. They don't do just a single digit dollar aspect or double digit dollar.
I think Costco does, like, depending on what the dollar amount is with the cents column, like, that's how they determine if it's like a clearance item that they're not bringing back or something. I've seen it on like Instagram before, if it has like a, let's say like a .79, for example, like, and it's like a product they're like not bringing back.
All right, say like, hey, pricing strategy, if it has some digits behind it, and cents, they're not bringing that product back. If it does not, it's a standard product that they're keeping. Anything else? And then you go on Walmart. You go on Walmart and do like $1.67. Right? You're like, what? Right? So some retailers may say, hey, you know what? Consumers are too conditioned mentally with the .99 system and the regular dollar system. We get our own little different strategy, kind of confuses them, but confusion is great because it makes them impulsively think that they're getting a deal. .67 is less than .99, so they're almost still just competing in numbers. Bless you. They're actually competing in number systems, right? You come up with anything. You're like, oh, Walmart does .67. How about we do .45? Okay. So in the minds of the consumer, like you can't really equate that to anything because that's not your reference. You're used to .99 and a single dollar system that if something came up, it confuse you like, what? $1.53. Where did this fit? You might impulsively buy it because you might think it's a deal in some way, psychologically. And then we got price gouging. This occurs when individuals Or companies take advantage of the situation by raising prices based on need, price gouging. When have you seen prices being gouged? Have you ever experienced it? Have we ever all experienced it at the same time? Because of situations and conditions. Where have you seen them jack the price up ridiculous because there's a high demand and low supply of something? Where have you seen? Yes.
It was like during COVID, like toilet paper.
Yeah. Like, how could they charge so much? Because they can. Because it's not that much available. Whoever, you say it's a necessary item, right? It's not an alternative item. Necessary, you kind of get away with murder. Yeah, you say gas as well too. Hey, like based on need, if you're on the highway system or an expressway system, like, man, next gas station is beyond this one, it's like 50 miles, like you can charge a ridiculous price, right? Because people who really need gas, they don't have an option. What's the option? Just run out of gas, right? So you can charge based on distances between gas stations. Anything else that you can think where they price gouge? We come up with 100 examples of price gouging, but we get it. All right, so here's the discussion question, our first one for the day. Price gouging is against the law, right? But discuss times when it happens and what can be done to protect the consumer from the effects of it. What are the most likely product services to fall into a price gouging situation and why? Other than the examples we just used, think of some more products or services that fall into situations that create price gouging and why, right? And what can be done to protect consumers from the effects of price gouging. You get about 4 minutes with your groups to think of some measures. All right. think of the mask, literally mandatory. Like, what, you're not even giving us a choice, right? So if it's in a hospital, like you come in this hospital, it's mandatory that you wear a mask. Thus, as a hospital, we also have to abide by this mandatory procedure and buy these masks, right? Or they may say, hey, it's mandatory to wear a mask in this building, which means you have to go buy a mask, right? Like it's kind of forcing you to do something. So you're like, well, okay, if everybody's buying a mask, obviously you're not that available, so you jack the price up to make the profit. Honestly, I mean, think about how many people truly capitalized and made a fortune during the coronavirus epidemic, right? Like hand sanitizer, mask, if you were in that business, you probably retired after the pandemic was over, right? All sorts of things you capitalize basically on fear and government mandates. Like fear and mandates created price gouging. Are you buying yourself? Did you think of something?
Yeah, I just said something similar to that, like inelastic products, things that don't have substitutes, they're essential, so like gas, eggs, things that you can't substitute, so they can't jack the price up,
Yeah.
people still buy it.
You're like, hey, anything without really alternative substitutes. You think of gas, you think it's the same old gas, just a different qualities of ethanol, right? Oxides, and things like that.
We talked about like housing, like so hotel prices or like rental properties that you're renting out, because it's kind of just like if you're in a high demand area, like around like a concert or like a Super Bowl, big games, you can easily fall into a trap where your only option is like it might be 30 minutes away, but it's still going to be like extremely expensive. So we kind of talked about how like in like economics, you talk about like price floor, price ceiling, and how like the government can kind of regulate that. So that would be like that'd be a way to try and prevent it, but like ultimately when you make those big events, it's kind of what you're following through.
Yeah, you're like, hey, there's only a limited amount of inventory. You only got limited ways to get to this event or this motel, hotel, this house. Therefore, we can charge what we want, right? It's limited inventory. High demand, limited inventory. So if it's a great neighborhood in the city of Chicago, you're like, why is it so expensive to live over here? That's because a lot of people demand it, and there's only a limited amount of apartments, condos, houses available. The government may say, hey, let's get involved to make it more affordable, and they're using sort of mixed income housing. Like, oh, there's too many people over here that, too many kind of wealthy or high income people. We want to introduce maybe more diverse. We'll subsidize and pay part of the rent. Pay the remainder of the percentage of the sort. So the government can get involved, kind of mitigate that, usually just by subsidies, like providing some money, tax funding.
Products that like we have any whether it's like not just like eggs or just like our essentials.
Alright, so eggs, right? This big kind of talking point to this time is the cost of eggs and how crazy it is. Yeah, which is really kind of showing that eggs is an indicator of our economic situation right now, right? But yeah, there's really no substitute for eggs. You can get kind of artificial egg substitute products, but nobody probably really wants to eat it like that. So, okay, essentials in the back.
We said like, I think like a couple of 5 years ago, when like PS5 and like the Xbox Series X came out, I remember like about the consoles and bulk and start just reselling them like 5 to 10 times the price because they were so popular. So I was saying how like they just bought the consoles and just resold them to like a way higher price for like
Yeah, you capture a new product being entered into the market. There's only so much available, products being called. Right, so even a reseller, a regular individual, if they're young, PS5's coming out, I'm gonna buy 20 of them, and I'm gonna sell each one for 10 times the price, $10,000 a piece. I know there's some rich kids somewhere, some rich kids will buy it up. I'm gonna make a ridiculous profit off it, but that only can last for so long before, Microsoft and Sony come out with the next wave of engines, right? Right now, a lot of people wanna try it, it's brand new, wanna see what it's all about, they've been waiting for it a long time. So, I'm gonna take advantage of this particular situation of new products being entered into the market. All right, great examples. All right, 5 critical C's of pricing, and we've characterized each one. First, we say there is cost, there is customers, there is channels of distribution, right? There's competition and there's compatibility. Cost includes what we discussed before, fixed and variable costs. Right? We say that we offer product, but we need to make a profit off of it. What are our fixed costs? What are our variable costs? Is there anything we can change about any of those cost structures in order for us to make money, right? To generate a profit. Next, we get customers. Know what they want and how much they're willing to pay. How we find that information? We can look at our competitors and see what they offer and also see their sales value. What do they sell, at what price? Maybe some changes in the markets, lower the price, increase sales. Maybe we should offer at a low price or at a normal price, things of that nature. Then we get channels of distribution, intermediaries who move products from manufacturer to end user. They need to make a profit and the product must get to the place where the customer is willing to purchase it. Right? So we say, hey, how many middlemen are we using in the process of giving it to the consumer? So for example, like, well, does Procter and Gamble or Unilever sell directly to you as a consumer? Are you going to Procter and Gamble's website to buy Tide, dishwasher? No, you're not. You're going to a retailer who sells Procter and Gamble, Unilever products, Walgreens, Target, etc. Right? So in that in between, how many different distributors are in between that retailer and in between Procter and Gamble and Unilever? It might just be a few, it might be a host of distributors. Each one of those costs, each one of those take a different amount of time, each one of those has only a certain capacity, etc., etc. Now, I might say one of the greatest strategies for distribution is Coca-Cola, right? Probably most recognized brand on planet Earth. Like, what exactly does Coca-Cola do? What is their process? What does Coca-Cola do? Like, as part of its strategy, its process of getting this thing to everybody on planet Earth. Imagine. How do they do it? I think Coca-Cola sells a formula. Right? They sell a syrup, a recipe, patented trademark, can't use it, can't try to replicate the exact taste of it, get sued for that business, etc. Right? So Coca-Cola says, okay, we bottle and we can this formula. And we can either get it out to individuals ourselves, but we need stores. We need retailers. We don't want to own stores. That's not the business we're in. Owning stores just to sell Coca-Cola. We need 7-Eleven, right? We need corner stores, convenience stores, grocery stores. We need all these different people in order to sell product. How do we get it to them? Well, we can come to different bottlers and canners who do their job well. They've been bottling, canning things for a long time. They have the components, the manufacturing operations, et cetera. And we can allow them to do this with our formula. We'll have to use our labels, our brand name, et cetera, meet the standards of how we want to sell it to people, different ounces, right? And that's essentially what we do. And we do that all around the world. We don't wanna own even these bottling and canning companies. We wanna own a little bit, so we have a say-so and control. But we don't wanna take on full ownership because it's risky, right? They probably bottle and can for other companies too. So in order for us to have control as much as possible, we'll own a little bit, right? But we may have them, pay them to brand their trucks and everything as Coca-Cola, because we have an image to the code, and an image to convey. So their strategy is kind of an integrated strategy, right? Not always full ownership of the trucks, of the big plant to get the trucks out, to get the products out. Not even with the bottling, because like, hey, you know what, these companies, manufacturing companies are just using our stuff we send to them, our formula, right? That they use kind of this hybrid approach. Some companies go direct distribution. They say, no, we have a website and we ship it out to you. That's it. Come to our website, we send it straight to you. There are no intermediaries. Some other companies may use intermediaries. Like think of your phone company. She's like, hey, let me call T-Mobile or Verizon. I got a problem with my phone. We call somebody in India, somebody in China. It's like, wait, are you Verizon? Well, we contract them. Et cetera, et cetera. Those people have to be trained. Those people have to be vetted culturally, right? It takes a lot. So maybe Verizon's like, no, I don't want to do that here because we got unions and stuff. We got to pay for $20, $30 an hour. So customer service issue. So we use intermediaries, right? To make it feasible, so your phone bill is not $300 a month, it's $85 a month, right? Makes sense. Apple in the same case, think of Apple. Apple used to be located all through these malls, and Apple says, no, that's too indirect. We're using the mall facility, I worry about the landlords of the mall, we're located around too many competitors. They're gonna put our stuff right next to Microsoft and Google laptops and phones. It's not good. So the best way to make the most profit is actually kind of direct selling as much as possible. Right? Usually the highest value companies in America have really great control of their product. An example, Apple and Tesla. Very closed system. Not allowing people to get involved. Tesla got Tesla stations, Tesla dealerships, everything Tesla. Apple stores, Apple ecosystem, everything Apple. Right? So sometimes it's worth it, but then other times you may not have the expertise in that field and it's too expensive. Right? Okay, and then competition. Competition is the other products and services competing for buyer dollars, and pricing is impacted by the buyer's perception of the alternative. Right? So we say price is an indicator of the perception of alternatives. Right? Are you cheaper than your competitors? Are you more expensive? Maybe if you increase the price, you might be perceived as better quality. Like, oh yeah, they charge more because it tastes better. Might not be true, but when the owner said, we just kind of think that it is. And then compatibility in pricing is based on the market's ability to pay and the company's profitability. Which means you tailor the price to the market in a compatible way. You can make up any fictitious number you want to, but that particular environment will respond and say either they agree with that number or they disagree. Here's our next discussion question. Hey, what makes the channel of distribution an important factor of calculating price? Think of some other sort of factors why distribution is important in calculating price. Think of some examples, right? If you think of some direct distributors, some wholesalers, right? Some indirect distributors use all type of logistics and intermediaries. Think of those type of things. And those also think of those who use maybe retailers use, right? And how those retailers kind of price things out too. How that works. All right, I'll give you about 4 minutes with that as a group. risk, right? Because you say you have agreements and contracts with these intermediaries. Hopefully they do what they say they're gonna do. Who knows what other arrangements they get, what other situations they get. All of that leads to a lot of potential uncertainty about a lot of things.
Yeah.
Okay. Next week.
Have some like, almost like breaks involved with the price and everything, so overseas, ship it over, as the price. And then like, what about distributors, have some say in it, and also like where it's sort of the whole, that whole chain, like who it is, as the pricing to. And also like the companies.
Okay, so like, hey, country of origin really matters, right? If Apple decides to manufacture in Cupertino, California, what would the price be of an iPhone? It was designed in Cupertino, California, assembled in China, right? But assembled, they changed the word. Said assembled in China. That's interesting. What do you mean assembled? Like, no, the Chinese manufactured this product. They manufactured, they made the product. Change a little bit of the verbiage. You know, you maybe in the minds of consumers, they're like, oh, yeah, just only assembled in China. But anyway, so they say, hey, Apple, do it in China because they are experts in manufacturing, probably more than any other place on earth. Yeah, you gotta get the product over here for American consumers, but there are also consumers in Korea, Taiwan, East Asia, Middle East, Europe, Australia, Africa. So maybe those are closer areas. But for here, maybe charge a bigger amount because their transportation costs, cost of the Pacific Ocean, it's pretty pricey. Okay.
I said, it's gonna add to the price overall as each of the wholesaler or the transportation, they're each gonna want to make a profit individually, overall.
Alright, so, anyone else had wholesale? Okay, so I think you were gonna say, talk about wholesales?
I was just, we kind of talked about like, buying and selling in bulk, like how you can cut costs that way, just because if you have an individual product for $1, but you can sell a case of them or whatever, that can help both sides.
Okay, so yeah, so both of you kind of together, think of that concept. Hey, who has a Costco card? What do you have, an individual account or a business account? Individual membership or business?
Individual. Individual now.
Okay. What do you have? Right, think about it. You're like, oh, there is a business account. Why? Because Costco sells to businesses. Businesses need stuff like you need the same stuff. Right? They have people that work there that need stuff. And so the price structure of bulk is different. Like, so these manufacturers of these products who were in Costco, they could have been in some other retailer selling to each individual. But they're like, no, they're selling really to families or people who like to buy in bulk and businesses. So they could structure the price differently. Selling many things at once, you can make it more affordable. You can make it lower the price. You're selling to individuals in each spot, you kind of have to increase the price. There's more things involved, right? More distributors, more time involved. Buying 1,000 things at once versus one each time. So like, hey, wholesaling can definitely contribute to alternating the price for selling to businesses and also selling to individual consumers. What do you discuss?
So, sort of add on to that, like, brought up the idea of like vending machines, like water bottles, like vending machines compared to like buying somewhere else, like vending machines, like they're charging a lot more than let's say like you buy at Costco. And I think part of it is just from like the taste of
Here you got limited options, Costco, you probably have a different mindset of what you're gonna pay. Here, you're probably a little bit more lenient to what you're gonna pay, nobody cares about it. But let me ask you, is, let's say, the soda and the water and the snacks, the chips and the, chocolate beer in the vending machines at this university, is it more expensive or is it cheaper than the little cafe or the, cafeteria?
I'd say the vending machines are cheaper than like the liquor cash down there. And I think that's because you're using real money versus like your cash on your ID. So I think it's like easier for them to get away with upcharging you down there because it's like not real money. So they kind of like convert it away, so it just sounds reasonable to you. You can swipe the card. It doesn't.
Yeah, like, it's a good point. Like, hey, in your mind, after it's already paid for, you might not even keep track of this thing. It's not, it's monopoly. Right, and therefore they could charge you more. What could be some other reasons that they charge more too, as opposed to the vending machines? They want you to use it. Yeah. Yeah, they want you to use it all. Thing two, the vending machine doesn't have a ton of overhead, right? The cafeteria does. Right? There's some people involved that work there, all sorts of things they gotta pay for. The vending machine, you know, has fixed costs. Pay for whatever, electricity, the operating machine, whoever's the person that comes load it up. Okay, great. And next, we'll talk about the 5-step procedure for establishing pricing policy. All right, so we'll learn about the procedure itself, describe ways to determine the pricing objective, identify ways to estimate demand, estimate costs, analyze the external environment, setting price strategies and tactics. So think of this concept. You have a great product that you want to push out. You want to sell clothes or something of the sort, right? You potentially could have an objective. You say, hey, for sweaters, this is usually what we charge. For pants, this is usually what we charge for women versus men, for children. You can have some sort of pricing objective and say, well, why aren't you flexible with that? Right? Because we aren't flexible, we won't make a profit. So for us to kind of make it easy for ourselves to know what kind of products we want on our shelves and stick with our pricing policy, we can really predict on how successful we will be. It won't be such a guessing game. Right? And even with that pricing policy, we say, hey, you know what? We do sort of upcharge for all these different items, but we know also our promotion policy. So we'll just kind of put things at 20% off on purpose because we know at that 20% mark, we still make X amount of profit. Right? So at the end of the day, you can have like a pricing objective just so you know exactly what kind of profits you will make in turn. If you don't have one, then like everything's kind of a free for all. You know, it's very risky. It's very complicated to kind of figure out how successful you'll be in a predictive manner. And in a predictive manner, you're like, hey, there's investors involved, there's stakeholders, shareholders, et cetera, things should be kind of more organized, you know, systemized in order for it to make sense. So first, we need to determine our pricing objectives, right? What are your pricing objectives? Like ours is to make a healthy return off each item that we sell. Or we say our pricing objective is not that. Ours is say get minimal profit with just more sales. More sales means more share in the marketplace. Means more people buy from us, more people know we exist, and more people kind of do word of mouth. So we get better promotion. So you could kind of say, hey, I want to make all the profit margins, but then not many people buy them versus your competitors, you're still losing them. Right? Like, hey, offer the cheaper option so everybody buys it, and then later on, when everybody knows about the product, maybe we can increase the price a little bit. That could be an objective, but you gotta have some sort of objective. Right, estimate the demand, right? You can look at the marketplace and look at competitors and see how much of something is bought and usually at what price. What's a fair price based on the value of sales that others sell. Right? You can get that public information. You can see in the market what it is, and then you can use that information right then. This is a high demand product at this particular equilibrium point of pricing. Anything above that, we see sales typically drop really bad. Anything below that, sales increase somewhat. So there's like a sweet spot, right? You can find a sweet spot in demand, one where it's a healthy amount of demand at a particular price. Then you estimate the cost, right? Estimate the cost, depending on how many people we need involved to make the end user get the product, including marketing, promotion, the distributors, et cetera, the salespeople, machines, right? And then you want to analyze the external environment, right? What other factors out there? There could be government involved, like, government either subsidized part of this stuff. Think of what Tesla, back when Obama was in office, right? And thinking of $7,500 rebates. Government's giving $7,500 rebates to buy this vehicle. This is a nice incentive. The government might be a good business to get in if we can promote this incentive, right? Influence people to buy it. It worked, right? Tesla's third largest, most valuable company, or was, in the United States. It worked. By the way, where does Tesla make most of this money from? Selling what? About 80% or more of the service, yes. So the subsidies, yeah, part of it is subsidies. But what's the major thing that goes into an electric vehicle? What's the major thing that you need to make it work? There you go. Right? So it sells batteries. It's trying some way to perfect the battery concept. It's lithium-ion battery, along with the chargers. Right? That's not perfected it. BYD, which is Chinese-owned electric vehicle manufacturer, it's the largest electric vehicle manufacturer on the planet. And it has electric vehicles that you can charge 250 miles in 5 minutes. Think about it, you stop to get gas, it might take you 5 minutes. Like, let's just say you go pay inside, wait in line, come back, put your vehicle. Might be 5 minutes. You're like, if you could charge your vehicle like BYD, Chinese electric vehicle manufacturer, in 5 minutes, you're like, wow, that now it makes sense. Right? 250 miles, you get a 5-minute charging. So it's, Tesla's not there, right? But they have been getting a lot of help from the government over the years. And then finally, you set your pricing strategy for taxes, right? Have a strategy. What is it? Is it to boost sales value? Get the market share increase? Is it to be a cost leader of some degree? Is it to exude luxury? You put the highest ridiculous price like Balenciaga, which you think that people think is just the greatest thing ever, or some other sort of procedure. All right, we will end there for today. Do not forget, if you can today, make that selection for a group in the back. I know you weren't here, but go with chapters, module 10, module 11, look at the 3D printed links. Pick one. All right, you can directly submit it to the Clinton Library 3D printing, and then they'll email you, maybe CC me on the email, right? Get that done, takes about a week to print. I'll contact you via email. One person goes, picks up the item, the 3D printed item, and that'll be part of your next presentation. Make sense? Try to do it as soon as possible. If it takes a week, sometimes it